painters. In honor of our first painting video, I have a fresh drop cloth on my table and fresh canvas, and we're ready to go. I have a piece of cardboard inside of a plastic bag because it makes it so easy to handle a wet canvas and move it to a drying rack. I have a canvas here with 4 push pins, and that's to hold the canvas up out of the paint as the paint is coming off and as it's drying. It will take a couple of days in my humidity for the paint to dry to the touch, and then it takes about 2 weeks for the paint to cure properly. I'm going to check to make sure my canvas is absolutely level. There's a possibility that I didn't get all the push pins in exactly the same. Okay, let's mix up these paints. The white acrylic base as a white paint. I'm pouring maybe a tablespoon in the bottom. We don't need a whole lot for an 8x10 canvas. A little bit of the neutral base in each one, maybe a tablespoon in the bottom. Add just a couple of drops of pigments, the yellow, this is the blue, and the red. We're going to mix this up. Pigments are very concentrated, so it just takes a couple of drops, which means that bottle of pigment that came in your kit is going to go a long, long way. That's the yellow and the blue. Very saturated colors with just a couple of drops. The pigments are also very Lightfast, so you're going to have an archival painting and it's going to stay bright and beautiful for years. The Eco Pour pouring medium, and we're going to add 4 parts of medium to each one of the cups. Mixing is really important. I always shake up my pigment and the pouring medium and the acrylic base before I use each one of them. And now we're going to put a couple of drops of silicone in each one. The silicone helps promote the formation of cells. 2 drops in each one. Mix it up pretty well. I'm going to top this with just a little drizzle of silicone. That gives me some really nice cells. In a flip cup, which is what we're doing today, we're layering the paints in the cup, and then when we flip it over on top of the canvas, the heavier paints fall, the lighter paints rise, and as they pass one another, they go around those little droplets of silicone, and that forms the cells. I'm ready to layer these in my cup. A little bit of white in the bottom, some red, blue, more white, and yellow, and a little more white. This is a 2-ounce cup, and that is plenty for an 8x10 canvas. Okay, this is why we call it a flip cup. And we're going to let it rest just a moment so the paints can begin to rise and fall. And you'll probably see some ooze out around the edge, and you may even see some paint, that some cells start to form. The aha moment is when you lift that cup and the colors start to blend and the cells start to pop up. See the cells forming in here? Let that rest a little bit before we do too much tilting. It's so much fun to tilt. You want to see what happens, and you tilt it too much and the cells break. So we don't want that to happen. And you can cover the canvas completely, or you can have just a partial cover. I'm going to torch it now, and the torching will break up the air bubbles, which will encourage cells. I'm using a creme brulee torch, and you'll see the air bubbles popping and the cells forming. The danger is always overworking the paint. If you see that it's starting to get muddy, stop. That's a good time to stop. I'm going to mix up just a little bit more and work around the corners here. This is called a direct pour. Make sure you cover the sides well, and I usually scoop it up from the table below. torch this just a little bit on the edges too. Make sure there are no bare spots on your canvas. I'd like to add a design line in here if you use the white paint. And that just draws the eye in. Look at those cells. It's been about a week now. The paint's completely dry. It's going to take about another 2 more weeks for the paint to cure, so I can put several layers of varnish on top. But for right now, it's looking really good. I'm very pleased. The design lines held. The cells held. And it looks pretty good.